Okay, now look, just before we discuss about the sustainable marketing, just want to point you to the the reading material that you can also download from the portal about a company. I believe everyone has heard this company, like the Lemon Brothers, where they did some, from accounting perspective, they mentioned that they did the accounting tricks to show they have the capacity to absorb the risk, okay? But apparently they didn't, right? As a result, they have to file bankruptcy, okay? Well, the issue is not only about bankruptcy. The issue also involves the investors feeling whether they can trust the economic system that we built together or not. Okay, so that's about sustainable marketing. So sustainable marketing actually involves two aspects at least. Although some people suggest a number of definitions, but at least there are two things that we need to consider when it comes to sustainable marketing. The first one is being socially responsible or being ethical. The second one is being environmentally responsible. Okay, so they are the two things that we try to capture with this topic. Okay, let's have a look at it. Okay. Sorry, which link that it is not available? Could you please let me know, Jess? If you can specify the link that is not available, Jess. Okay, okay. So they may have removed it. I apologize for that. Okay, let me have a look. But that is actually the snapshot that I just explained to you about the Lemon Brothers. Let me have a look at it. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay, right. Now look, if I show you any images or video clips in this presentation, that yeah, thanks for understanding, Jess. Look again, if you find video clips or images in this presentation, again, they are not meant as an offense to anybody or any group. They're just a tool for us to discuss in class. Okay. All right. Now, look, I just want to step back a little bit. Okay, before we move on to the main course today. Okay. This is a bit of entrepreneurship that I'm bringing to us in our discussion. Okay, as an entrepreneur or as an economic actor, probably to be more precise, we have the rights. We have some rights, right? Because we live in the private enterprise system. Okay, the private enterprise system is probably look, is actually the same thing as the capitalism system. Okay, so this is the system. This is an economic system where we are able to claim our reward because we do well in this system. All right, in terms of what? In terms of meeting the needs and demands of the customers or the ones that we, the stakeholders that we engage. Okay, so that's the essence of the private enterprise system. All right, in this system, the role of the government has been minimized. You can contrast this with the communism system, like the one in Cuba, for instance, or any other communism system where everything is basically managed by the states. Okay, not in our system. All right. So marketing concepts that we discussed since week 1 until now basically refer to the private enterprise system or the capitalism system. Okay. All right. So because we are able to claim reward, since we do well in meeting the customer's needs, okay, we strive to get it. Okay. Therefore, we actually say that we have to have the basic rights in operating as an economic actor in the system. Okay, so they're basically the basic rights that we have. All right, the right to own property or lease a property or rent a property, for instance. Okay, the right to compete, the right to develop products, the right to develop advertising campaigns, so we can compete in the market, and the right to select which one that we want to compete, which one that we don't want to compete from strategic perspective. Okay. We also have the freedom of choice, whether we want to pursue a career or we want to set up a business as an entrepreneur. Okay. And eventually we have the right to claim our profit based on what we have done well in the market. Okay. So they are the rights. Okay. Now within that rights, okay, I just want to bring to you to the limitations that we have, okay, because we also need to adhere to the concept of being sustainable, supporting the sustainability, okay. Just briefly about the entrepreneurship, we understand that a lot of people have done a great job being the entrepreneurs, right? And actually, if you look at the entrepreneurship, okay, they actually the engine that drives the economic growth in our system, okay. And there was a debate, just a bit of taking you a bit further than that. There was a debate between the scholars that support the communism system and the scholars that support the capitalism system. Okay, the communism system, the scholars who support the communism system suggest that like Karl Marx and Engels, for instance, they mentioned that the capitalism system will collapse at some point of time. Okay. And scholars who support the capitalism system, such as Schumpeter, suggest now it won't collapse because it has its own cure, right? Self-cure, if you like. Okay. What is that? One of them is basically the entrepreneurship. Okay. The entrepreneurship is the tool to drive the economic growth again, so we can enjoy the growth again. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to discuss that because that one is basically related to the economic studies, but I just want to put that in the context of mindsets when we discuss these topics, okay? Yes, we have the rights because, and as an entrepreneur, scholars also argue that entrepreneurs are basically the heroes in modern society, okay? And well, that's another way to look at the entrepreneurs, a relentless pursuit. That's another thing that we also admire them. Oh, okay. Roxana, sorry to hear that, but I think everybody else can hear me. Can you please check your audio, Roxana? Or another option for you is you can exit and click the same link again to join me. Right. Can I confirm if everybody else can hear me well? Okay. See. Okay. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I think Afatik also mentioned that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, Roxana. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. All right. So, yeah, Roxana, can you please check your device? Sorry to hear that. Okay. Okay. So, right. So, if we look at the entrepreneurs, this is one of the things that we admire them, a relentless pursuit of success. You look at Jack Ma, for instance, failed a number of times, right? But finally he could set up a strong business, right? He's now worth of 22.5 billion US dollars, okay? Types of entrepreneurs, I'm not going to discuss that more details, right? And again, this is another thing that I just mentioned to you before in terms of Schumpeter's centerpiece of work in terms of supporting the economic system, okay? Right, so in brief, the entrepreneurship is one thing that people are looking at in terms of driving the economy, the economic growth, okay? During hard times, like the Great Depression, for instance, General Electric introduced new things, new products, the fluorescent light bulb that drives the economic growth because that drives the consumption, right? So during the Eisenhower recession, for instance, that is another example. Ray Kroc opened the first McDonald's store. Until now, we know that these two businesses are still strong in the market. During the Vietnam War and oil crisis, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, for instance, formed Microsoft. Until now, this is also a strong business in the market, right? So they drive growth, right, through the creation that they bring to the market, through the innovation that they bring to the market, okay? So that's the role of entrepreneurship that we actually enjoy, okay? And yeah, because of that, scholars suggest, well, they may be the they may be the heroes in the modern society. Okay, okay. Now, let's put that as the in our mindset, the role of the entrepreneurs. Right now, let's look at the sustainable marketing. Let's get back to our main course, because as an entrepreneur, yes, we expect them to we expect the entrepreneurs to drive the growth, and when they do that, they actually do what we call as the creative destruction. They destroy the previous innovation by replacing with new one, which is a better one to service the customer's needs and demand. Okay. Now let's put the sustainable marketing back. Okay, because in doing so, you will recall that we have the rights in our private enterprise system. Okay, in adopting our rights, we also need to adhere to the limitations as well. Okay, the ethical or social responsible, and also the the environmental issues. Okay. Okay. Now, ethics. Well, probably it is hard to define ethics, and this is probably a good guide for us in terms of understanding what ethics is. It is a guide, a guidance basically for us to claim whether something is good or bad, or something is right or wrong. Basically, when it comes to ethics, and the thing is, to claim something good or bad, we need to have kind of standards. And that standard, in terms of standard, we often look at the legislation. But in saying that, let me give a heads up. You may also be aware of this, that not everything can be regulated, or therefore we also need to look at what we call as the social ties or values in the community as well. That's one of the things that I'd like to highlight to you. Although we have the legislation to help us as a guiding principle, but I think we also need to look at beyond that as well. Okay. Why marketers have become in the spotlight? Because our activities are basically quite prominent. It's hard to avoid that our activities are basically, basically attract the attention of the other people. Okay, so therefore, if you look at the IMC, integrated marketing communication campaigns, for instance, a lot of activities in there are basically on the spotlight of the other people, of the stakeholders in the industry. Okay, therefore, we also need to adhere to, we also need to look at that these ethical consideration as well. Okay, right. This is one of the key concepts I'd like you to I'd like to suggest you to include in your analysis when it comes to sustainable reflection on the sustainable marketing. There are three types of impact on of marketing. The first one is individual impact on individual consumers. The next one is impact on society as a whole, and the other and the last one is impact on the other businesses. Okay. Let's have a look at them. Okay, the first one is in terms of impact on individual. Marketers or marketing organizations have been accused of driving high prices. Okay, why is that? Because of at least two reasons, or driving forces why the prices are quite high. Okay, the first one is advertising campaign. Marketing organizations run advertising campaign, therefore they actually drive the prices quite high. And the second one is distribution. Okay, you can imagine in the previous webinar we discussed about marketing channel. Okay, when we adopt more middlemen, right, between us and the end users, that means we need to pay costs, right? Well, no one will work for free anyway. Okay, therefore they will drive high prices. Okay. Now, marketing organizations, marketers normally would argue that, hey, one second, guys, yes, these guys drive the costs for us running the business, okay? But we do need them as well, because we need to communicate our products to the customers. And the customers, if you recall the consumer behavior topic, consumers also use the official information from us through advertising campaign, through websites, and so on and so forth as their reference when they do the analysis before they make the purchase decision. Okay, the same thing to our distributors, right? They add value in terms of value creation for the consumers. Okay, therefore, well, yeah, unfortunately, we still have to, we pay for it. We have to pay for it. although it may drive high prices, but we still have to do it. Okay. Deceptive practices is the second issue that that marketers have been accused of. And if you think about it, marketers have been accused of not delivering what they commit to deliver, what they have mentioned they would deliver, or what their product needs to deliver. And you can look at a number of examples, such as the if you look at a few years ago, for instance, Optus, for instance, with supersonic campaign, has been accused of deceiving the consumers because they failed to declare at certain point of time the internet speed would drop. Okay, so the ACCC, the agent, the government agency who administers the Competition and Consumer Acts, put them into court. All right. So and they have been penalized basically because of that. Okay. So it is a deceptive. It is considered as a deceptive practice because they fail to disclose when is the to disclose the issue that the internet speed may drop during the peak hours. Okay, that is a deception. And you may also recall another brand, for instance, the market, Nurofen, for example. For instance, they launched a number of products, different packaging color, but essentially they still use the same ingredients, no change at all. And different product type has been positioned, if you like, to for different benefits, right? Either for period pain and so on and so forth, right? But essentially the ingredient is still the same. Okay, so that has been considered as deception as well. Okay, so how do marketers respond to the deceptive practices? Well, they would claim that we can't deceive the customers because at the end of the day, we want to build longer-term relationship with the customers. And second thing is that we need to adhere to the legislation, right? It is very clear. If you look at the Competition and Consumer Act, we need to make sure that we have healthy relationship with the consumers, distributors, suppliers, and the other players in the industry as well. Okay, so that's how we respond to it. Okay, the next one is high pressure selling. Look, you may recall that at some point of time when you have dinner, when you are with your family in the weekend, for instance, and suddenly your phone rings and someone, a telemarketer calls you, try to sell something. Okay, pretty hard basically to, giving us some pressure in terms of selling things. Okay, and again, how would marketers respond to it? Well, marketers would not defend themselves by, explaining that, well, look, we can't give high pressure of selling to the customers because we may be able to sell one thing at that point of time, but we may not be able to sustain the relationship with the customers. Okay, so again, we put back the reason being, maintaining the relationship with the customers. Okay. Now, the fourth one, shoddy, harmful, or unsafe products. In markets like Australia, it is very clear that we can't sell something unsafe under product quality legislation. We need to ensure that we offer products that is safe for consumers to consume. Okay, it is our liabilities otherwise. Okay, and you may recall that recently the government is running a campaign about airbag. They recall certain part of airbag because it has been considered as unsafe for us to use, and we need to check our radios, check our cars, and so on and so forth, and talk to the dealer to get it replaced. Okay. Well, that is actually a bit of moral dilemma that is very clear in terms of product safety, right? And in terms of shoddy, harmful products, in a broader sense, sometimes we may also face a dilemma. Okay, if you look at snack product, for instance, or fast food product, for instance, or any other junk food product, for instance, okay, well, it is a moral dilemma for us. Okay, if you refer to the reading material, for instance, you may recall that there are several classifications of product, and this product is considered as the pleasing type of products, right? Meeting the consumer's need now, but it may be harmful in the future. Okay, so that is a moral dilemma. Should we shut the business, or should we? If we shut this kind of businesses, well, we may, in fact, trigger a larger problem than that. Okay, that is something that we also need to debate as well in terms of discuss as well in terms of the moral dilemma in here. Okay, Denmark seems to have a solution to it. They charge what they call as the fat tax, or sugar tax, if you like, for products, you know, that may be unhealthy for longer term. Okay, it doesn't kill us now, but for longer term, if we keep that habit, it may be a serious problem. Okay, and Australia the politicians in Australia used to debate that a couple of years ago, but I haven't heard about the fat tax anymore. Discussed anymore now, but if that happens, they may you know, charge larger tax for this kind of products. Okay, planned obsolescence is another issue. The planned obsolescence is basically we as a marketer, look, what is our task in business? We have the right to grow the business. Remember, as an entrepreneur, we have the right to grow the business, right? In fact, if our business is listed in the stock exchange, we may be required to make sure that our business growth is sustainable. Otherwise, the stock analysts or the shareholders may penalize us. They may move their money away from us, right, to be invested to the other businesses. Okay, and the thing is, we may need to launch a number of new products, for instance, okay, replacing the current products, okay, so we can be competitive in the market, right? In doing so, at some point of time, we may not be able to offer the same level of service for the customers for all products, okay? You may recall that a few years ago, Microsoft announced, hey, we can't support your Windows XP anymore. Okay, you need to migrate to Windows Vista and then migrate to Windows 7. And just recently, around 3 years ago, they mentioned that they wouldn't be able to support Windows 7 anymore. They expect us to move to Windows 8, 9, or even actually the recent one, Windows 10. Okay, so what does it mean? Well, the marketers have been accused of planned obsolescence or planned deleting the products that still work well in the market. Okay, that's an example, if you like, in terms of the marketing organization behaving that way. Okay, so how do marketers respond to it? Well, marketers normally argue that, hang on a second, guys, we need to keep adjusting our products because we need to be, number one, competitive, and we have the right to be competitive in the market, in this system. Right, in this economic system. Okay. Number two, we need to keep adjusting our product because we need to adjust the product to the lifestyle of the customer. So at the end of the day, we need to ensure that we meet the customer's need. You may recall our discussion in week 1 about meeting the consumer's need being a moving target. Right, a number of products that we launched today meets the customer's needs, but it may be different in the next few years. All right, so we need to keep thinking about adjusting them. Okay, and the next one is poor service to disadvantaged consumer, where marketing organizations have been accused of providing a poor service to disadvantaged consumers. Right, so you may also recall that a few years ago, a few private training organizations have been closed down by the government in Australia because of they've been accused of leading people with certain disability who can't come to school, can't join the learning, but they've been misled by the gimmick that was given to them, like iPad or computer or laptop, to sign up to school program, and then but they actually can't participate in the learning and teaching basically. So that's an issue, and the marketing organizations, marketers say that yeah, for that one, yes, we need to show fairness in terms of providing services for the consumers. Okay. Right, so there are some issues, guys, and I gave you some examples to it in terms of marketing's impact on individual consumers. So you can research your own examples, your own brands. There are a number of brands as well that number of issues. If you read the newspaper, City Morning Herald, and so on and so forth, you will find issues as well that people have been talking about. Okay. All right, now let's move on to the next one. The next one is basically marketing's impact on society as a whole. Look, again, what is the task of marketers? What is the task of businessman, of a business person? We need to drive growth, right? Now, when we drive growth, we may use public utilities, right? I'm talking about the second one here. We may use public utilities, okay? You set up your Donald B company doing chocolate category, right? Your business grows pretty well, which is expected, right? Your investors expect that as well, and it will trigger certain issues, right? You will ship more products. That means you are going to use more public utilities. Okay, you are going to use more roads, for instance. Okay, so that is a dilemma in here. All right. Well, do we need to shut your kind of business? Not really. Okay, that may in fact another potential issue that we don't expect. Okay, so in here, at the end of the day, after we use more public utilities, we may also charge the taxpayers to fund the road expansion, right? Like in Sydney, we have the Westlink West Connect, for instance. They try to expand the roads as well to accommodate the motorists, for instance. Okay. And at some point of time, in some countries, like in the UK, for instance, in certain areas in London, the CBD area, when motorists pass that CBD area, they have to pay kind of toll fee, if you like, to pass that area. Okay, right. So that's to view social goods is all about, right? So we consume more public utilities, and therefore there needs to be some work between us and the legislators in terms of managing the public using public utilities, either charging fees or working together. Okay, car manufacturers have taken the initiatives to have a more fuel efficient cars, right? So that helps to reduce the consumption of fossil fuel basically. Okay, that helps as well. And Elon Musk came up with an idea. Okay, what about if we have the solar system and so on and so forth? Okay. The next one is false ones and too much materialism. The false ones in here is basically about marketers have been accused of leading the consumers to buy things that they don't need, but marketers have been accused of being genius in terms of creating wants, not satisfying the needs, but more into creating the wants of the consumer. Okay, so well, you may ask yourself sometimes after you purchase something, you may have a kind of a reflection. Hey, why do I buy that? Okay, do I really need it? Well, probably no. Can survive with other things, but yeah, I bought it anyway. Okay, so that's the false ones actually that has been accused to marketers. How do marketers respond to that? Well, marketers say that the impact of marketing campaigns has been exaggerated. Okay, what is the evidence? Well, if you look at the entire marketing industry, there are thousands of products that have been launched to the market, right? But studies suggest that only 30% of them survive in the market. Okay, when we say survive, that means they pass the first year. Okay. In fact, the number drops if we calculate survival of the first 3 years. Okay. So what does it mean? Well, it means consumers have their own say. Consumers have their own power to say, no, I don't want it. Okay. And we also discussed in the previous webinar that the advertising campaign, for instance, just good enough to create what we call as the pre-sale condition. Okay. So yes, that's the response of marketers in terms of false ones. Okay. And too much materialism. Well, marketing organizations have been accused of running campaign on the world of materialism, the world of hedonistic lifestyle, okay, the world of status, power, okay, and also sex, basically in our campaign, so on and so forth, okay. And marketing organizations argue that well, look, our task is actually try to escalate the consumer's need to the next level. Okay, so if the consumers can satisfy their physiological need, we try to elevate that to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. With that, we actually contribute to creating the wealth of the nation, basically. Okay. The next one is the cultural pollution. Again, if we talk about the too much materialism, which is related to the campaign, marketing organizations have been accused of running campaign that actually is related to the cultural pollution with the status, power, for instance, sex, for instance, and the marketing organizations argue that, hang on a second, guys, without us running advertising campaign, people may find it hard to get entertainment and also news and also analysis on media for free. Because of us, we can have the free TV, for instance, free to air TV, for instance. Okay, that helps consumers to enjoy entertainment and also to access media. Okay, all right. So there are some issues in terms of the marketing's impact on society as a whole. Okay. Now I still have around 5 minutes. Can I suggest we still have one more type of impact, and after that we try to discuss the assessment as well. Can I suggest we stop there and we come back to the meeting room by clicking the same link? Is that okay, guys? Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So, okay, thanks lots. Now, please allow kind of 2-3 minutes for me because I need to convert the files to, so I can record it. Thanks a lot.